Hey guys, it's Boris Lossberg. Welcome to the crosses section for August 1 to August 5, 2016. I think the crosses this week are actually going to be some of the more interesting and more volatile trades, simply because we have lots of cross flow coming up into the front of the week. One of the things that I really like, continue to like, is the weakness of the CAD. And there are two ideas I have on the CAD side. Both of them are anticipatory. One of them is a lot more anticipatory than the other, but I think they're kind of interesting to take a look at. One is pound CAD. The reason why I like pound CAD is because, remember, we're basically making the assumption that pound has really bottomed out here, and that we have a potential here for a breakout if you get anything better than horrible news out of the UK data this week. And that, of course, is very contingent. I mean, obviously, if we get horrible data, this trade gets blown up in our faces. But any kind of positive UK news, I think, really pushes pound higher. And I think CAD is very much a laggard because oil prices continue to be very much going the other way. So we may even go down to 40 on the oil prices. So you get this perfect, I think, setup in the pound CAD. We'll take a look at the levels and the charts in just 1 second. The second idea that I think is fascinating is, of course, the RBA coming up on Tuesday, the Aussie story. Now, the Aussie story, as I said, is in many ways counterintuitive, because even if the RBA cuts, which at this point the market is anticipating, if they don't put out a statement saying they're going to cut any further, if they view this as sort of sufficient, or at this point, I forget what the language they like to use I forgot the actual English words they like to use to basically communicate to the market that they find it satisfactory at these levels. If they provide any language like that, I think Aussie actually rallies. And remember that even though the euro has rallied a little bit against the dollar, it's really been just an anti-dollar trade, not really a pro-euro trade. I don't think there's anything on the eurozone side that's going to make it really skyrocket. So the relative speed at which Aussie goes versus euro, I think, makes the euro Aussie, and if you look at the charts here, just really confirms my view, as a very interesting short here, on the assumption that we get nothing more from the RBA besides the cut this week. And then the last thing that I sort of like very much is the Kiwi CAD. This is a very quiet cross and it really doesn't move a lot, but we had a big turn last week, and I think that turn is meaningful, and there's at least potential here towards 95 with a very small retrace, and I'd be a buyer on any kind of a retrace here because technically it looks quite good. So let's just look at the levels and just confirm those first, and then we'll take a look at the charts. Pound CAD resisted 175, support 170. It's sort of mid-range, but I like this as an anticipatory trade for a run towards 175. Euro odd definitely looks to be like it failed in front of the 149s, which is why I like the short here at these levels with a potential target of 145. And Kiwi CAD has a nice V-shaped turn. 93 is the support, and 95 is a target that you can try to shoot for. Let's just take a look at the charts here. And first, let's just do pound CAD. So here's pound CAD, and chart-wise, it's not exactly a bullish chart, but it's not exactly a bearish chart here. But all you see here is a V-shape with obviously a resist at 175 and kind of a move to the downside. But this is where the anticipatory part of it comes in. If you sort of assume that whatever correction we have in the pound here is kind of worn out, and you're a buyer on a scaled down version here, all the way down to 170, I would stop myself out at 169 for sure. If it goes to 169, you're completely wrong. This turns now into a potential double bottom trade. But so long as it kind of just stops in front of the 170, it has a series of higher lows and a potential to move back up towards the 175 level. So I kind of like this as a turn trade, basically pound on a relative strength trade. The other trade that I liked, where was this? I'm sorry, was the so I had a little hard time finding Euro Aussie in my charts, but here it is. Here's where I really like the technicals. You see this nice little failure here right above the right sort of above the 148 level here. The idea here is, again, relative strength of the euro. Relative strength of the Aussie. A euro, I think, has very limited upside potential. Aussie could potentially go to 77 on a kind of a non-conventional view that even if RBA cuts, it's a final cut, therefore it still remains a pretty decent yield trade. So the trade here is 49 would be the stop, or just a little bit above 49 is I would stop myself out. But a potential here for a turn all the way down to 145, not out of the question. And I kind of really like this trade to the downside with a double bottom test here at 145. So Euro Aussie, very interesting cross as we go forward. And then last but not least, here's the Kiwi CAD trade. The Kiwi CAD trade here is really looking good as just sort of a V-shaped bottom recovery, right? Let's say we retrace back down to 93, which is natural. That's a great buy point. Anywhere in front of 93 is going to be a great buy point, with probably like a stop. Depends on how patient and how much pain you're willing to absorb. I probably wouldn't be willing to absorb more than 92 as my pain point, but technically you really could absorb all the way down to 90.50 before the pattern fails completely. But even at 90, at 92, it would really be more of a failed high, and then I really wouldn't want to get involved. But it moved down to 93 or anywhere around here with a potential burst back up towards the 95. So very, very powerful move, and I think a very interesting trade. And let me just throw one little bonus idea here that I haven't put up on the charts here, but just came to me that I meant to do this. But I think this is kind of interesting. So remember, again, this is the pound catch-up trade, the pound relative strength trade. Euro pound has been nothing but a buy point, right, all the way through here. But here, look what's happening here. We have a high at 86, and in my opinion, close to a failed high here. If we're getting this is a very, very fine-tuned short. I wouldn't give myself more than 85 as a stop point. If it goes to 85, then it has a reasonable chance to go to 86. But if anywhere in front of 80, I would short here with a stop at 85 on the assumption here that pound outperforms. Again, this is all about the pound turn trade, which could not happen. But if it does, this is certainly going to be a very, very good setup here. So short here in front of the 85 with an 85 stop and a target all the way back down, we could unwind certainly towards the 82s before it finds any kind of a support. So I really like this as a kind of a failed second lower high trade, as a turn trade, all of those things. That's pretty much it. So I like pound CAD to the upside. I like Euro Aussie to the downside cleanly as probably the cleanest technical. Now this, again, assumes that the RBA isn't going to come in here and kneecap me and tell me that they're going to cut down to 1 almost assuredly. And I like if I get any kind of a decent data out of the pound, if I just simply get non-failed data out of the pound, a little bit better than expectations, you could get a move in the pound all the way up to 135s, and that really gives you a very good entry into the Euro pound shorts. So those are the ideas that I have. I wish you guys the best luck, the best of trading this week, and I'll see you guys next week.